My roommate charged me pet rent for my service dog. Today she came home to find her room empty. The eviction notice I received yesterday had my roommate's signature on it. The same roommate who'd been secretly pocketing the $200 pet fee she charged for my medically necessary service dog. Today, while she was at work, I moved every single item from her bedroom onto the front lawn. That was she'd been subletting illegally part, and I was the actual tenant on the lease 6 months ago, I answered Kate's Craigslist. I'd for a roommate during our first meeting, I was upfront about Luna, my service dog, who alerts to my seizures. She's not a pet, I explained. She's medically necessary equipment under the item. Landlords can't legally charge pet fees or deposits for service animals. Kate nodded sympathetically. Of course, my cousin has a service dog too. The landlord's totally cool with it. 2 days after moving in, Kate slid a revised rental agreement across the kitchen counter. Small issue, she said casually. The landlord charges $200 monthly for any animals, policy stuff, nothing personal. Something felt off, but I was desperate for housing after my previous landlord sold my building. I reluctantly agreed, stretching my already tight budget as a graduate student. For months, things seemed fine. Kate was rarely home working long hours at her marketing job. Luna and I settled into a routine, my seizures less frequent thanks to her alerts, giving me time to get to a safe position. Then came the water damage in the bathroom. I texted Kate about contacting the landlord, but she insisted on handling it herself. When no repairs happened, I grew suspicious. Using the property management company's name from our mailbox, I called them directly. I'm in Unit 4B, I explained. We have a water leak that needs attention. Unit 4B, she paused. May I have your name? When I told her, she asked me to hold. What followed was a 15-minute conversation that turned my world upside down. I wasn't Kate's roommate. I was her subtenant in an apartment where subletting violated the lease. Kate was charging me $1,100 for a room in an apartment that only cost her $1,400 total, and the pet fees the Pultails fabricated. We've actually been trying to reach the tenant for months, the manager explained. She's 3 months behind on rent. I felt sick. The $600 in pet fees I'd paid would have covered half that deficit when I confronted Kate by text, she replied. It's just business, XMN up charges. The pet fee is fair since your dog sheds. The property manager offered me a solution. The owner would prefer a reliable tenant. If you are interested, we can transfer the lease to your name and begin eviction proceedings against her. I signed the new lease yesterday morning. By afternoon, I had the eviction notice to give Kate. When she didn't come home that night, I made a decision. This morning, I carefully moved everything she owned onto the front lawn and changed the locks. I placed the eviction notice in a waterproof sleeve on top of her designer clothes. Then I called her. Your things are on the lawn, I said when she answered. You have until 5 p.m. to collect them before I donate everything. You can't do that, she shrieked. I'll call the police. I spoke with them already, I replied calmly. They said it's a civil matter between a tenant and an unauthorized occupant. By the way, I found the cash box with my pet fees in your closet. I've taken exactly what I am owed. She arrived 20 minutes later, Maria streaking down her face as she frantically stuffed garbage bags with her belongings. Neighbors watched from windows as she loaded her car in multiple trips. You could have given me notice, she sobbed during her final trip. Luna sat beside me on the porch, her service vest proudly displaying the words that Kate had chosen to ignore. Service dog, not a pet. I did give you notice, I replied. The same amount you gave me when you decided to profit off my disability. Sometimes justice doesn't come from courts or lawyers. Sometimes it comes from a property manager's phone call and the realization that the person taking advantage of you has been breaking the rules all along. Tonight, Luna and I have the apartment to ourselves. I've already found a new roommate, another student with a perfect reference and a genuine smile who didn't even blink when I mentioned my service dog. My brother has a service dog for his PNTD, she said. I know the laws. Some people need to learn the hard way that service dogs aren't pets. And some people need to learn that karma isn't just a concept. Parents, sometimes it has fur, 4 paws, and legally protect